What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So, OPEC Plus, which is Russia, Saudi Arabia, and all the Middle East, a whole bunch of Middle East countries, announced an over 1 million barrel per day oil cut, which is going to affect and already is affecting the United States with oil and gas prices. They're already starting to go up. Take a listen to this. It's not good here.
Patrick DeHaan with me, gas body guy. Look, I think gas prices are going up from here because OPEC cut production. I've been wrong about gas prices before. Am I right this time?
No, Stuart, I think you're 100% on the money here. And I think it's just within a matter of the next few days, we'll start to see those retail gas prices accelerating as a result of those OPEC production cuts.
And when you say accelerating, you mean like up 2, 3, 4 cents per day for a week or two?
Well, it probably will be on the cusp of that. I think it'll amount to 5 or 15 cents. Right now, the week-on-week increase is only about a nickel, but we are starting to see some signs that states are going to go up big. In fact, some big jumps today in the state of Ohio, where prices seemingly jumping 20 to 30 cents. That's going to spread throughout the Midwest, Stuart, and then into Florida. Those states tend to be bellwethers that move first.
Wait a second. You've got stations in Ohio which today bumped up the price 20 or 30 cents a gallon? Really?
Yeah, that's right, Stuart. Some of the states in the Midwest, as well as the state of Florida, engage in what we call price cycling. They're the first to move, and they generally see really big corrections. And so Ohio is starting to see some of those stations go up 20 to 30 cents. And I would say within the next 24 hours, we'll likely see the same happening in Indiana and Michigan, where stations could also get closer to $4, Stuart, maybe $3.85 or $3.95 in those states. That's a 20 to 30 cent bump, and that's what the rest of the nation may start to see as well, with the national average potentially rising 10 to 15 cents over the next week or two.
Well, that's news and a half right there, Patrick DeHaan. Tell me about diesel. We've got a lot of farmers and folks who use heavy machinery watching this show. I've got diesel at the moment at, just lost my notes. It's at $4.20 a gallon. Where's that going?
Well, Stuart, good news for the farmers out there and the truckers out there. Diesel prices continue to moderate. Now, keep in mind, if you look at NYMEX, the price for ultra-low sulfur diesel actually has fallen under that of RBOB, which is not unusual. This is the time where gasoline demand is going up. Refinery maintenance kicks gasoline supply. So diesel continues to moderate. Stuart, it's not impossible that the national average for diesel, which looking at our numbers here at this moment, 414, the median price for diesel is actually $3.99. It should, we should see the average price for diesel continuing to inch down. Of course, that remains a wild card if OPEC further cuts oil production, or if there are any refinery hiccups, that could change. But diesel prices continuing to moderate.
Some analysts say the gas prices are going to go well over $4 a gallon because of this OPEC Plus cut, and that Russia and Saudi Arabia are going to be getting their retaliation on the U.S. Take a listen here.
Yeah, well, it's going to get choppy, but how do we play that, Ryan? Because, if you talk about oil, you have to talk about China and the reopening story. That is China right now. So we've got OPEC Plus that's cutting on the one side and China reopening after ending zero COVID on the other side. That tells me that there's a lot of pressure to the upside. And we're going into the summer driving season.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And I think the China reopening, as bad as it is for oil prices, it's phenomenal for the global economy, right? You're starting to see copper prices have gone up a lot, steel prices have gone up a lot, which just speaks to the fact that they're back in business and they're going to buy a lot of goods and services from across the world. So it actually makes me more optimistic that you have this second largest economy in the world, one of the biggest consumers now is going to be buying goods and services. So I think overall, that makes me more optimistic, even if oil prices happen to go up a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Phil, let's talk about this as we go into the summer driving season. We have seen demand surge. After COVID, especially in 2022, people were driving, they were flying, they were out, they were about. What does the consumer face this summer, in your opinion?
Everybody thought $4 a gallon was a given. Now it's definitely a given. Now the question is, will we hit $5 a gallon? I'm afraid consumers are in for a very expensive summer. It's a new era of higher prices. And if we don't get into a recession, I still think that there's a lot of pent up demand by the consumers. And I agree with Dan. I mean, I think Chevron's a great stock. You know, I remember ExxonMobil. I remember everybody hated that stock. That's one of my favorites if you're looking for a reliable. And then take a look at RIG, Transocean. Everybody loved that stock many years ago. It crashed. What a comeback story. I think Transocean is going to be the story, the reemergence of the cleanest type of technology to bring oil to the global market is offshore. And I think that stock's going to do very well in this new environment of sharply rising energy prices.
Let's talk about the economy, Ryan, because obviously the other big question here is if you see the inflationary pressures hitting the economy from the oil side of things and gasoline prices, which has already helped us get to 6% on CPI year over year.
Yep.
Does that tell you that the Fed is going to pause? There's about a 58% chance right now that the Fed is going to only do a quarter point in May or June, not both, but one.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost flip a coin right now. I always lean on the optimistic side, and I feel like the Fed here may actually pause next month. And because I think at this point, look, you just saw producers paid, price index paid, that was down. That's a disinflationary sign. Commodities in general down like 13% year over year. The Fed's favorite gauge of CPI was down on Friday, the PCE. So it's kind of like you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. I'm from Philly. I keep it really simple. And it's like, look, inflation's coming down. Wages are staying strong. And wages over inflation now are growing. Like, I'm not a rocket scientist, but that's the sign of a soft landing that everyone on Wall Street doesn't want to acknowledge. And they've been dead wrong. So it's kind of like embrace the fact that things are getting better.
Yeah, so as you can see here, it's almost unanimous that this newest cut by OPEC Plus, all these countries around the world, part of this. Remember, the oil is a world conglomeration. When oil production gets cut, it affects the entire global market for the price of oil and the price of gas. The U.S. is not just in a bubble by itself, even though we produce gas and oil. It's like a stock exchange in that the price of an Apple stock or IBM stock or any stock is traded on a global market. So this is almost universally going to raise the price of oil and gas. And this is the second massive cut here we've seen in the last several months. They announced a 2 million barrel per day cut, now an over 1 million barrel per day cut. This is a 3 million barrel per day cut by OPEC Plus. This is just too much to ignore for the oil market. And this just shows that they're going to do anything that it takes to keep prices high, as if gas prices weren't high enough. This just goes to show you here that gas prices and oil prices are, and we say oil prices here because this is going to affect diesel, it's going to affect regular gasoline, it's going to affect home heating oil, natural gas, pretty much all of the different oil and gas prices. They're going to just continue to go up, especially over time. They might fluctuate a little bit here, in the near and short-term futures, but these oil companies, oil countries, and OPEC Plus are going to do anything it takes to make sure that you, me, low and middle income families, the United States, and countries around the world, including their own people, are basically going to stay poor and pay as much money as it takes to pay for gas, pay for food, and pay for everything it takes. Because remember that everything basically has transportation costs in there. You think about food prices are already at all-time highs. We think about this due to the pandemic, also, but due to gas prices and oil prices, because everything has transportation costs built into them. And then we also have, a little bit of the war, the breadbasket of the world. Russia and Ukraine have had severe, problems there. And that has kind of raised the costs on a lot of things. And also the fertilizer shortage that kind of comes from over there has raised costs as well. And you just kind of add all this stuff up. And then we know that OPEC Plus is literally going to do whatever it takes to make sure that oil and gas prices don't come down, it's going to be a never-ending story. So I hate to tell you this, but it almost seems like gas and oil prices are never going to be low again. So you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Please let me know your thoughts, and let me know if gas and oil prices or gas prices and diesel prices, what they are in your area down below in the comments. Please let me know, and let me know if they have gone up here recently, and we'll see what happens here. So if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon afterwards so you don't miss out on any videos. The best thing about it is it's completely free to do so. I'll keep you up to date here on everything happening here in our country and around the world here on a daily basis. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you should watch next. You won't believe what Russia just did. Click here and see what happened in this video. And the US government is banning your household items. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.